Ready to break free from algorithms, vanity PR, and money-sucking ads? My name's Larissa Werstick, and I've learned in 8 years of jewelry marketing that content is the crown jewel. My agency, Joy Joya, takes a holistic approach, leading with laser-focused storytelling, impactful content creation, and strategic content distribution. This method has worked for the solopreneur as well as the multi-million-dollar company, and now I'm sharing the same systems and tactics with you. Here's to standing out in the sea of sparkle. Welcome to episode 307. Today, I'm diving into a topic that's going to make your life and your customers' lives a whole lot easier. It's all about how to keep your marketing messages simple, straightforward, and precise. I know it can be tempting to share everything about your brand or your latest product, latest collection, latest whatever, cool announcement. But overloading your audience with too much information or too many choices can really backfire on you. Plus, when we're dealing with today's fast-paced, scroll-happy world, a message that could have been made more precise just isn't going to cut it. Simplicity is your best friend. So I'm sharing tips and tricks to help you cut through the noise, speak directly to your audience, and make your messaging crystal clear. Whether you're crafting an Instagram caption, writing an email, or figuring out how to best describe your latest piece of jewelry, this episode will help you refine it all. And stick around for some under the radar tips that you may not have considered. In the Gold Mine segment, I'll be talking about how we at Joy Joya avoid overwhelming our clients' audiences by focusing on one clear message in their marketing instead of trying to say all the things all at once. But before we get to the solid gold, I'd like to take a moment to remind you that this podcast has both audio and video, so you can either listen on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube by searching Joy Joya. You can support the podcast for free by taking the time not only to subscribe, but also to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you didn't know, I co-host another podcast called Success with Jewelry with my friend Liz Kantner, who's also a jewelry marketer and the founder of the Stay Gold Collective. We have a free version of the podcast that you can check out anywhere you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And we do have a membership community with extended episodes and additional resources. Also, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to sign up for a free month trial of JoyDeck. Simply visit myjoydeck.com/trial to claim your complimentary 30 days. With this really exciting jewelry marketing support platform, we're dedicated to helping emerging jewelry brands reach new heights. So if you feel like you're on the brink of something big, but you just need that guidance to take the leap, this is the place for you. It's not just another marketing platform. It's a gateway to success for jewelry entrepreneurs who are ready to hustle. So if you want to try it out free for 30 days, visit myjoydeck.com/trial. Okay, let's get into today's episode, my sparklers. This one's all about keeping your marketing messages simple. We're gonna Marie Kondo your marketing. If it's not bringing your customers joy, we're getting rid of it. Do you really struggle to hone in on marketing messages that actually make an impact? Then I've got some tips for you. So let's get started. First and foremost, before you can refine your marketing message, before you can really hone in on what's working, you have to understand your core message. So if you want to have something truly impactful, first, you need to have a solid understanding of what the core is all about. And I think this can be really tricky because many jewelry brands think they know their core message, but oftentimes it's not as developed as it could be. They may not have taken the time to research the market or find a way to make their story stand out. So for example, if your core message is just that you sell cheaper gold jewelry than your competitors, well, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up chasing customers through endless discounts and you're just going to be competing on price alone. But if you craft a message that truly resonates with your target audience and grabs their attention, That's how you'll be able to build lasting relationships with people who are loyal and who refer you to their friends and family members. So just 2 examples of brands that we pretty much all know that have a really strong core message. David Yurman is one example. The core message there is based all around artistic design and timeless craftsmanship. So David Yurman blends art and jewelry design, crafting pieces that are modern yet timeless. And their message consistently focuses so much on the craftsmanship, so much on the artistic inspiration. And it's appealing and speaking to those people who crave sophisticated statement pieces, and that's who is going to connect with the brand. Then we have a completely different jewelry brand like Mejuri. Their core message is all about everyday luxury, no special occasion required. So Mejuri's message is really centered on democratizing luxury, making fine jewelry accessible for people to wear every day, not just for special events. Their tagline, "Buy yourself the damn diamonds," empowers women to invest in themselves, and it makes their brand resonate the most with people who consider themselves to be modern and independent. Those are the shoppers that are going to most resonate with Mejuri. So the brand recognition that these 2 jewelry brands have achieved is not accidental. They've invested significant time, energy, and resources in identifying what makes them unique and what keeps their customers returning again and again. So keep trying to hone in on your core messaging. Make it a priority if you don't feel like you've fully figured it out yet. Okay, next tip I want to share with you. Always lead with the benefits and connect on an emotional level. So I guess this tip leans a little bit more towards sales than marketing, but I think it's worth noting. Features alone usually won't convince someone to buy unless they already have in their head a very specific piece of jewelry that they want, and you happen to check all the boxes. So while sharing details like the materials and the size and the specs, all those things are important. But what really resonates is telling your customers or your prospective customers how this piece is going to enhance their life, how it's going to pull their fall wardrobe together, how it's going to make them the best gift giver of all time, how it's going to help them earn compliments, make their heart flutter every time they see the piece of jewelry, or bring tears of joy when they receive it from a loved one. And that emotional connection is really what's going to hit more than a bullet point list of features. When you focus on benefits, when you connect emotionally, it really shows your audience how their life will improve, and it leaves a lasting impression on their heart. So always think about the so what test. After writing your message, ask yourself, so what? Why should your audience care? Be brutal about it. Be super brutal and honest. So what? Who cares? Who gives a crap? If it can pass that test, then you've done a good job. And it keeps the focus on the value rather than just a description, really, a product description. Bring it to life. Okay, my next tip. Use short, punchy sentences and master the art of headlines. So break down your complex ideas into short, digestible sentences. I know for us, a lot of times when we work with clients, we're translating the message for them. So they're kind of telling us the complex idea, all the things they want in their marketing. Oh, it has to say this. I would love it to say this. Okay, there's a lot of details there, and that's probably what it feels like in your head too. And even if you don't work with us or you don't have an agency or a marketing expert to help, you need to find a way to take the jumble that's in your head, all the mental notes that are up there, and we need to translate them for the marketing. So that means we want to focus on shorter sentences, breaking things up visually, utilizing headlines, subheaders, body copy. This will make your message easier to read and understand, especially on mobile devices. And if you're just not a writer, you don't like writing, well, ChatGPT and similar AI tools will be your best friend. So do that brain dump, write your first draft, and then ask ChatGPT to rewrite it with shorter, more digestible sentences. You also really want to make use of white space, especially when you have longer copy and you just can't shorten it. Sometimes you just got to say what you got to say. In that case, you want to visually break up your content so that you don't have huge blocks of text. So space things out to guide the reader's eye to your key points. And with the headlines, those are larger font text, right? can't even describe a headline. You know what a headline is. That's the first thing people see when they look at what you're showing them. Like, think of a newspaper. You see the headline first. Maybe we don't even know what a newspaper is anymore. But even on a website, you'll see the title or whatever is standing out. So make that real estate on the page, on your email, whatever, make it count by being direct and being benefit focused. Get rid of the fluff words, get rid of the unnecessary adjectives, keep it direct and simple. And when it comes to headlines on your website and your blog posts and your email marketing, think of the 2-to-1 ratio. So for every 2 words in a headline, try to convey just one key idea or benefit. And that way you can shoot for brevity and precision in what you're communicating. Okay, my next tip, stick to just one call to action or CTA. So if your social media post or your email campaign has more than one call to action, it's time to rethink the approach and consider splitting it into separate pieces of marketing. Multiple CTAs can really confuse and overwhelm your audience. So here's an example. If you are asking people to sign up for your email list, shop a new product, join the event, and you're telling people all these things in one social media caption, that's too many things to ask people to do all at once. So instead, focus on one clear action that you want your audience to take. Maybe subscribe to my newsletter. That's it. That's the only thing you're allowed to ask them right there in that space. Make a purchase, shop now. Okay, that's it. That's the only thing you can ask them. Click here. Okay, you're done. You can't ask anything else. So you gotta break it up. My next tip is to avoid jargon and overly complex language. Customers, they don't want to feel confused or overwhelmed. Nobody likes feeling that way, especially not when they're being marketed to. So use language that's accessible and that resonates with your target audience, and really try to avoid industry-specific terms, explanations, jargon, unless they are critical. But most of the time, you don't need that. I was just reading an email campaign from a jewelry brand today, and the body copy said, "While we specialize in point of interest color combinations, we have a wide range of tonal options." And I had to double check to make sure I wasn't accidentally subscribed to like a wholesale list, because I had no idea what that meant. I'm just the shopper. I don't know what point of interest color combinations and tonal options means. To me, that sounds like a pitch you would give to a buyer at a retail store because they're thinking about merchandising or something like that. It felt really technical and cold, especially considering that the jewelry that was featured in this email was actually super fun and unconventional. So if you're not sure, test your copy with a non-industry friend. If someone outside the jewelry industry can understand your message instantly, then it's clear and you've done a good job. My next tip is be consistent across platforms. So ensure that your marketing message is consistent across all the channels, from your website to your social media. This will not only help build trust with your audience and show that you have your act together and that you care about communicating with them in an intentional way, but it also helps reinforce brand recognition. So if you don't already have one, create a tone and message style guide. Even a short one-page document where you outline your key messaging points and your preferred tone, that can really help keep you in alignment. And if you have a team, you and your team in alignment. My next tip is, I've been talking about text a lot in this episode, but visual simplicity matters too. So visual clutter can also really overwhelm your audience, just like too much text can. So you want to use clean, minimalist visuals that enhance your messaging, not take away from it. Limit your color palette, limit your fonts, stick to a few key brand colors and fonts that really reflect your message. That way you're not distracting people with the visuals, and that will really help improve brand cohesion. Repurpose and recycle. This is huge at JoyJoya. This is something that we teach and model for members of our JoyDeck marketing platform. Create core messages that can be repurposed across multiple channels. When you repurpose, you save time and you ensure consistency in your communication. I've also heard it called content atomization, if we want to get fancy about it. So that's like you take this one larger piece of content, like a blog post, and you break it down into bite-sized pieces for social media, for email. If you do ads, then you do that for ads too. And this keeps the message really tight and focused while maximizing the utility of your content. And the last tip I have today, empathy is key. You want to speak directly to your customers' desires, pain points, and emotions. Keeping your message human and empathetic means that it will be more relatable and effective. You can use customer feedback in this process too. So if you have had customers write reviews, testimonials, even just casual conversations, take that language, the words that they use, pull that into how you talk about your brand, because it's been proven that that's how customers feel about your brand. That's how customers know your brand. I'm not saying copy paste what your customers say, but like start to use some of that language. It will feel more natural and genuine, and then it will also resonate to other people who are like your existing customers. Also, if you know that your customers are having challenges, if something's just like not going well in the world, be sensitive to that. For example, when I was recording this episode, or when I am recording this episode, I'm doing it right now. Hurricane Helene is hitting the Southeast, and some of my clients and friends, clients with customers, are in the affected areas. Those clients are sending their customers messages of support and well wishes. And it's important to remember that what you share doesn't always have to be about shopping. It's about being human and real, and sometimes it's messy, and sometimes things get disrupted. We have to change course. We have to be more real than we ever thought we might have to be. That's just the nature of marketing, and we have to roll with it. But we have to roll with it by being consistent and true to our core message. What do you think? Have you been struggling to hone in on your marketing message? Do you feel like you can get it more clear now? I want to know. Let me know in a comment on YouTube or DM me on Instagram what you think. I'd love to help. All right, let's get into the gold mine. This is a segment where I get personal and share insights on entrepreneurship, mindset, success, growth, and all things business. And this week, I want to dive more into the importance of having a clear focus in your marketing message. Back when I first started my business in 2016, I was the queen of trying to throw every message at the wall to see what would stick. And I don't feel that bad about it, because I think it's pretty common when you start a business and you're trying to figure out your audience and your offerings. Unless you already had very specific experience in your industry and you already know exactly what will resonate, which is very uncommon, then there's going to be some spaghetti throwing. But the goal is to limit that, cut it off as quickly as possible, and refine that message sooner rather than later. If you're like 5 years into your business and you're still throwing spaghetti at the wall, it's time to get grounded. And maybe you're feeling a type of way like, oh, my audience needs to know about these necklaces and these earrings. And hey, I'm going to throw in this bracelet that's from another collection. And while we're at it, I need them to sign up for this event that I'm doing. Check out the sales section, sign up for my text. And by the way, we also do repairs. If that sounds familiar to you, it's totally okay, but we need to reel it in a little bit. And when I was in that mindset, because I definitely was, I thought I was being helpful by telling people about everything I could offer. I thought I was serving them by giving them all the details, but really, it was overwhelming. It was exhausting for both me and I'm sure for the audience that I was trying to reach. I was so eager to show off everything that I lost sight of the value of focusing on just one intentional thing at a time. There's a saying in marketing, I'm sure I've mentioned it on this podcast before, you may have heard it. If you market to everyone, you market to no one. And I think you can kind of say the same thing about what and how you're presenting. If you're trying to market your entire kitchen sink, then you're not properly showcasing the main course. And that's why I also started following this 5-second test that I think is really helpful and I would recommend everyone do. Now, after I create a marketing piece, whether it's for Joy Joya or for a client, I give it 5 seconds to look at it and I ask myself, what's the main idea here? What do I want my audience to take away? If I cannot answer that in 5 seconds or at least figure it out, then I'm pretty sure my message isn't focused enough yet. And that's okay because it's about revising, honing in, getting clear. That rarely happens on a first stab at something. And this 5-second test has really saved me from sending out overly complicated emails, confusing social posts. I do it for Joy Joya's marketing. I do it for the client's marketing. I'm a person that tends to overthink and say way too much. So knowing that about myself, I've learned to correct for it. And now I'm always challenging myself to keep things simple because simplicity not only saves me time and energy, but it's also what helps your audience connect with your message. So as you're planning your next marketing campaign, your next email, your next social media post, try to simplify. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I want my audience to do or feel? And trust me, when you get that clarity, it will make a world of difference in how your message lands. That's it for today. Thanks for listening, my sparklers. If you want to reach out, you can always email me, Larissa. That's LARYSSA @joyjoya.com. And if you love this podcast, please share it with a friend who'd appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe as well as leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're completely new to digital marketing, then you'll want to purchase and read a copy of my book, Jewelry Marketing Joy. Visit joyjoya.com/book for more information.